Let's pray. Almighty God, who in your wisdom and goodness have appointed the offices of leaders and county assemblies for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to behold with your abundant favor as your servants who you've been pleased to call to the performance of the important task.
Order paper number 148 of today, Wednesday, 21st February 2024 at 2:30 p.m. Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Next order.
Order number 3, messages.
Next order.
Order number 4, petitions.
Honorable members, I want to report a petition pursuant to our standing orders number 215 2B of the standing orders. And I want to report that the County Assembly in receipt of petition number 5 of 2023 on the matter of the compelling need of a volunteerism policy, a bill within Kisumu County. The petitioner is Mr. Benedicto Wasonga Onono, the program manager for Nyayo Community Social Housing Program, NCSHI, a community-based organization that was among the lead organizations of Muroni Town Cleanup exercise in 2023. The petitioner draws attention of the County Assembly on lack of a legislative intervention or a mechanism in the county that can facilitate volunteerism amongst various actors and creation of a database that is able to provide information on people or corporates who have similar interest in various categories of volunteerism interventions. On attempts to have the matter addressed in other relevant avenues, the petitioner affirms that he has oftentimes attempted to have volunteerism replicated across the county through development of a policy framework that can sustainably allow for county-wide embrace of volunteerism. His efforts reach out to the relevant department. His efforts to reach out to the relevant department of the county has not been fruitful. Honorable members, on the state established in the petition to the County Assembly's Procedure Act 2020, the standing orders, and any other relevant law. And pursuant to these provisions of Orders 217-2, the committee has 60 days to respond to the petitioner by way of report and to lay the same on the table of this House. And I want to thank you. In respect of standing order number 216 of our standing orders, I want to allow comments or observations or clarifications from any member in relation to this petition. Honorable members, the conclusion of the appointment of new board members to the Kisumu County Investment and Development Corporation is properly laid before the House, and I want to commit this one to the Committee of Appointment to work on it as per our standing orders. Next order. What is it? Proceed.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, I stand to lay a paper that pursuant to the provisions of orders number 192.2 of the standing orders I wish to table today, Wednesday, 21st February 2024, the Kisumu County Climate Change Regulations 2023. Thank you.
Honorable members, the Kisumu County Climate Change Fund Regulations 2023 is properly laid before the House by the Leader of Majority, and I want to commit it to the Committee of Delegated Legislation to work with it alongside the Committee of Water, Environment, and Natural.
And financial statements for the period ended 30th June 2023.
Honorable Karen Odhiambo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. This is Finance and ICT Committee, and we have consolidated 3 reports. Therefore, it is Finance and ICT Committee consolidated report on its consideration of the Kisumu County number 1 Executive Annual Report and Financial Statement for the period ended 30th June 2023. Revenue Fund Annual Report and Financial Statements for the period ended 30th June 2023. emergency annual report and financial statements for the period ended 30th June 2023. Mr. Speaker, sir, and honorable members, pursuant to section 164 and 167 of the PFM Act 2012, the county treasury is mandated to prepare annual financial statements for all county departments and county public funds and submit the same to the county assembly within 3 months after the end of each financial year. In compliance with the above legal provisions, the CECM Finance accordingly submitted the above county annual reports and financial statement to the assembly for consideration. The reports were subsequently tabled in this house by the majority leader on Wednesday, 18th October 2023, pursuant to the County Assembly Standing Orders number 193-5 and second schedule, and were consequently committed to the Sectorial Committee on Finance and ICT for scrutiny, analysis.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
What is the point of order, Honorable Nerea?
Mr. Speaker, I'm rising on point of order number 45-5B of our standing orders, which stipulates that reports and motions need to be circulated at least 24 hours before they are discussed on the floor of the House, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the report before us was tabled on 6th, the notice was given on 6th December 2023 by Honorable Ouko, Kennedy Ouko, on behalf of the chair, Mr. Speaker. The motion, Mr. Speaker, was granted precedence and scheduled on the order paper by yesterday, at least 19 hours before the hour. But, Mr. Speaker, the committee showed laxity in circulating the report. Mr. Speaker, you've just echoed a concern that this session we intend to do, to execute our businesses procedurally. And as a custodian of standing order, the standing orders of the House, Mr. Speaker, I just want to ask that unless the chair can convince the House that were reasons beyond their mandate as a committee, give us a reason why we should continue looking at the report and continue reading the report, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on 21st November 2023, the Committee of Liaison, Mr. Speaker, which you also attended, sat with all chairs and committee clerks and agreed that going forward, all reports and motions would be circulated within the stipulated time, Mr. Speaker. So I therefore find the Honorable Chair out of order, Mr. Speaker, unless she has reasons to convince the House to let her continue, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Honorable Chair, is it true that the report has just been received?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Yes, I do agree with Madam Chair. But as you know, it is yesterday when we resumed from a short break. That is when the House Business Committee was constituted and we had to meet. By around 5, we were still in the meeting. And after that, that is when I informed my clerk that we are supposed to prepare to present this report for adoption today. When I went up there, he had already gone. I informed him in the morning, and again, we had a technical hitch. Our printer was not working, and also we lacked papers. We later received the papers at around 10, and that's when the report was circulated.
What is it, Honorable Seth Kangawip?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I think the Deputy Speaker is being unfair to the Honorable Chair of Finance, because the Deputy Speaker happens to be a member of the House Business Committee, of which we sat yesterday and she was in attendance. And one of the issues we discussed was the resumption of interrupted business. Because, Mr. Speaker, you can remember when we were adjourning, you gave a ruling that we were to start with the business of the Finance Committee, first of all, before we proceed with any other business. In your ruling, the previous ruling before we adjourned. And yesterday, when you chaired the House Business Committee, of which I was in attendance, together with the chair of the Finance, the Deputy Majority Leader was in attendance, we agreed that for us to proceed, we proceed with the business of the Finance Committee, which was interrupted. And I think it was unanimously agreed in the committee. So circulating the report, I think, is not the work of the committee chair. And it's, Mr. Speaker, in the order paper, it has been placed. You have made a ruling and you have directed the chair to proceed with the business of the House. So interrupting the chair of Finance midstream while she is presenting her report, Mr. Speaker, I think we will be very unfair to the chair of the committee, together with the Deputy Speaker, who was present yesterday in the deliberations of the House Business Committee. And I think that matter could have come from a member who is not a member of the House Business Committee. She was there, all the members agreed that we start with the business of the Finance Committee first before we proceed to any other business, because there were other business like the agriculture report, which were to be presented by Honorable Land, and we decided. So telling the committee chair to stop, I think midstream, will be very unfair, because you had given a ruling for her to proceed. So with the indulgence of the chair, please, Mr. Speaker, let the committee chair proceed and present her report. Thank you, Mr.
What is it?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this House is House of Rules. And I know very well that a notice was given of the motion. And I don't think, if you want to go that direction, that you want to give us a notice of a motion on a motion that is not ready. From what we are hearing from the chair, the explanation she's giving, it means the report was not ready up to today, around 10. I don't know how the motion or the report got into the House business in the first place. I don't know who slotted it in the House business on the schedules that we see. Because I think you should have the report before you allocate time for it. So if the chair alone didn't have the report up to today, how did the House business deliberate on the same? From where? Did they know that the report is ready to be allocated time? Discussing what the chief whip is saying is so wrong. Because it's not the work of the House Business Committee to know whether the report is ready or not. It is the chair or the clerk that should submit the report to the House Business Committee. When you are chairing the House Business Committee, did you see the report in the first place before slotting it for debate? Because first things first, you cannot tell us somebody is in the House and you are waiting for the report here and you are slotting that report for discussion. I want to believe that even when you discussed it yesterday, it must have been ready. But from the chair's explanation, the report was not ready up to today. And therefore, I think we must be given at least 24 hours to read the report. This is a 72-page document. Surely, Mr. Speaker, we cannot read that in 2 hours and give a conclusive discussion. I request that she defer the motion, we go read the report, then discuss issues and do things procedurally. Thank you.
Honorable members, as the chair of the House Business Committee, I want to guide that I confirm when we were breaking for recess, I did indicate that we will start with this business. And I also want to confirm that I chair the House Business Committee, where in the House we had the report. The matter that the Deputy Speaker is raising is whether the members ahead the report in time. And I want to agree with the whip that it's good to get maybe 3 or 4 comments from the members. We may be saying that the members don't have the report on time, but they already have it. Because this report was tabled to this house on 6th of, it was tabled in this house on 6th of December 2023. 6th of December 2023, and we are in 21st of February 2024. So on my belief, I believe every member have gone through the report exhaustively. But let me give 2 or 3 members. I want to confirm if the report was received from 6th of December to date, and you've adequately gone through it. I say that based on what I said in the morning. We want to do things differently, and the leader of majority moved what are called procedural motions, which are restricting the times through which a member can speak. So it means the chair of any committee or the mover of the motions will be having moving notes. Then the members are supposed to have gone through the report adequately, so that when you stand, you go straight to the point that you want to move. So maybe I get comments from 2 or 3 members. The Honorable Chair, you want to say something? Can I get comments from?
Yes, Honorable Speaker, there is something I want to clarify. I had the report as early as last year. But before you circulate the report, it has to be scanned. So without printer, that cannot be done.
Let me get comments from the members. Let me start with the Honorable Ngeta.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to agree with the Honorable Whip. Mr. Speaker, sometimes it depends with the eventualities. Because, Mr. Speaker, this is a house of rules, and we are the members who are legislating in this house. We, at times, it can come and we can circumvent, because we are the people who are making all these laws. We can circumvent so that we move on as a family or as a house. So I want to plead with members, Deputy Speaker and Honorable Guard. Let them leave the Chair Finance to proceed on with the report so that we can capture our pending works as soon as possible. Let's move on, Honorable members. We proceed with our report and we carry out our activities. I want to agree with my senior Honorable Whip so that you guide this house accordingly. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Benny Pete.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Speaker, from all the contributions made in this house, but on 6th December last year, and it had never been circulated to the members till today, 10 a.m. That is the record presented before this house. And the worry now
A point of information, Mr. Speaker.
Whom do you want to inform, Honorable Ngeta? Whom do you want to inform?
I want to inform the member on the floor, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Benny Pete, do you want to be informed by Honorable Ngeta?
Honorable Speaker, this is any matter before
Do you want to be informed?
It is not Pete that is being informed. It is the House. So
Member.
when he has a substantive
Honorable
claim-
Member Benny Pete, do you want to be informed by the member?
Honorable Speaker, the matter is before the House. Let
Honorable-
the member talk what he wants to talk.
Honorable Benny Pete, I'm asking you, do you want to be informed?
I'll get informed when he informs the House.
Mr. Speaker, it's stated clearly that the report should be circulated within 24 hours, not before 24 hours. So I want to inform Honorable Peter Eko that the report was on our wall. So if you look at the wall, you will see the report there. So kindly bear with the situation.
Honorable Benny?
It is very interesting, Honorable Speaker. If that is what a whole member wanted to say, yet that is the pawn of contention in this House. At what time was the report circulated? Was a time adequate for members to go through it? That is where the problem is. And you have said that we should be procedural. See, the chair herself has admitted there were technicalities. The papers were not there. The work could not be done in good time. That's what the chair has admitted. So if we were to go on, we give the committee the benefit of doubt. But considering the matter here is very crucial. These are financial matters, which we should not just take for granted. So with your indulgence, I will pray that you give members good time to interrogate the report so that when they make their contribution, they make informed decision. They make informed contribution, Mr. Speaker. That will be very crucial to this House. Because the mistake is not for the chair. It is the office of the clerk that was to provide everything for the report to be ready in good time, for the scannings he was talking about. It was not a committee to provide all those. It was the office of the clerk. It is now incumbent upon you to confront the office of the clerk why things delay that way. And then when the report comes here, we don't now come up to challenge one another for no good reason. At I want to inform or compete.
Honorable Tom Nyauke.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to first of all start by thanking the Honorable Chair for being very faithful to the cause. Mr. Speaker, she has told us even the technicalities she went through before this document came to the House, Mr. Speaker, and we have clearly understood the reason why even the distribution of this document has been late. Mr. Speaker, now it is now upon you where you are seated to give us a fair decision as to whether we go ahead and read it. We are ready. She can read it, and then later on we can just call her to reply so that we pass this thing to go. Or you give us time, we look at the document, we argue it satisfactorily, then we agree to adopt or not to adopt, Mr. Speaker. That is what I can submit. Thank you.
One last member, Honorable Boyton.
Mr. Speaker, as much as...
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
What is the point of order, Honorable Gado?
The member on the floor is naked.
Who is seated next to Honorable Boyton? Honorable Benny Peter, can you confirm if the member is
Honorable Speaker, my eyes are sick. I don't see well.
Boyton. The Honorable Ken.
Mr. Speaker, I'm equally trying to struggle with a gadget in my eye. So I'm not in a position to confirm really, although I'm seeing people, but I can't identify truly what they wear.
Dressing of Honorable Boyton and report to me. Honorable members, the report I'm getting that the member is properly dressed. So, proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I fail to understand why Honorable Gado Lima always want to distract my attention. Anyway, I want to thank each and every member who have already contributed to this idea, this issue. But, Mr. Speaker, it is not the first time. It is not the first time that a report is circulated not within the correct stipulated time as per the standing order. The report should be circulated to members at least 24 hours before the session. The able chair is very honest, and she has even given us the technicalities and the hitches that she has passed through. So, Mr. Speaker, it will be upon you. We seek your indulgence. Given and having knowing that we have a lot of work to do, we seek your guidance. And I believe there are still more reports that will come less than the period that is stipulated by the standing order. Mr. Speaker, kindly give a ruling. Thank you.
Honorable members, I have listened to the point of order raised by the Honorable Deputy Speaker regarding the motion at hand, and I want to direct that we make it a practice that we send the reports to the members earlier enough. We have listened to the chair of the said committee, and going by the exigency of works that we have, and by the indulgence of the House, I want to implore upon you that we give the chair time to proceed, but in a speed that allows members to move with her, so that we are able to get a robust debate from the members. So, the Honorable Chair of Finance, you will move at a speed that allows the members to move with you, so that the members are able to give their input in your report. But I want to direct that going forward, let us make it as a practice that we give the reports to members early enough so that they're able to go through it, make their notes, and debate appropriately. Honorable Chair, Finance.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Thank you, honorable members, for understanding. Allow me to proceed. Mr. Speaker, sir, and honorable members, pursuant to Section 164 and 167 of the PFM Act 2012, the County Treasury is mandated to prepare annual financial statements for all county departments and county public funds and submit the same to the County Assembly within 3 months after the end of each financial year. In compliance with the above legal provisions, the CCM Finance accordingly submitted the above county annual reports and financial statement to the Assembly for consideration. The reports were subsequently tabled in this House by the Majority Leader on Wednesday, 18th October 2023, pursuant to the County Assembly Standing Orders number 193-5 and second schedule, and was consequently committed to the Sectoral Committee on Finance and ICT for scrutiny, analysis, and interrogation, and to report back its findings and recommendations to the House for determination. Honorable Speaker, these annual reports and financial statements presents budget execution status covering the period 1st July 2022 to 30th June 2023, with comparative actual achievements and budgeted amounts for the previous year 2021-2022. Mr. Speaker, sir, and honorable members, we have comprehensively examined these annual financial statements, made critical observations and findings, and outlined our recommendations on the same herein for adoption by this honorable House. Honorable Speaker, it is now my distinct privilege and honor to present to this honorable House the report of the committee on its consideration of the above annual reports and financial statement for careful determination and approval by this Honorable House. Mr. Speaker, sir, and honorable members, the Sectoral Committee on Finance and ICT is established pursuant to the County Assembly of Kisumu Standing Order number 193-5, and its mandate is to investigate, inquire into, and report on all matters relating to finance, financial statements, all matters of tax estimates, monitor the spread and enhance use of ICT in the county government to increase accountability and transparency. Further, the committee, as currently constituted, comprises of 7 members. Number 1 is Karen Odhiambo, who is the chair. Honorable Limumbo Wade, vice chair. Honorable Joachim Okech, member. Honorable Miko Chieng, member. Honorable Benson Adega, member. Honorable Ken Ouko, member. Honorable Georgia Baja, member. Secretariat are Peter Nditi, Principal Clerk Assistant. Edwin Omolo, Committee Clerk. Kefa Sonoka, Physical Analyst. Sakari Ogutu, Accountant. Sabulon Otiende, Senior Hazard Reporter, and Abraham Odegi, who is the Sergeant at Arms. Committee meetings and report writing. The committee held 10 meetings to deliberate, interrogate, and scrutinize the accounts. It then proceeded for its report writing retreat starting from 28th November 2023 to 3rd November 2023 in Siaya County at the Bondo Pride Hotel. Observations. The county treasury submitted the responses beyond the deadline set by the committee. The responses were received via email on 1st December 2023, while the deadline was set on 24th November 2023. And this you can see from Annex 2. Second observation, the responses were not satisfactory and lacked certain critical annexes claimed to be attached to it. And that's the challenge we have been having all along. Then we move to chapter 2, which is compliance to the various relevant legal provisions underpinning preparation of the annual accounts. Mr. Speaker, sir, and honorable members, the matrix below outlines committee observations, findings, and recommendations regarding the extent to which the county treasury has complied with the various relevant legal frameworks underpinning the preparation of the annual accounts. And this one from the report, you can check page 10, 11, and 12 of the main report. And I hope you are moving it together. So this is the legal provision. Section 164(1) says that at the end of each financial year, the accounting officer for a county government entity shall prepare financial statement in respect of the entity in format to be prescribed by Accounting Standard Board. And this is what the committee observed. The CCM Finance, Economic Planning and ICT did not conform with formats to prescribed by the Accounting Standard Board in certain sections of the report. And therefore, they were non-compliant. So this is the committee recommendation. The CSCM Finance, Economic Planning and ICT to review and amend the financial reports to conform with the set standards. 3, the accounting officer shall prepare the financial statements in a form that complies with the relevant accounting standards prescribed and published by the Accounting Standards Board from time to time. This is what we observed. The annual financial statements for the county executive, county revenue fund, and county emergency were not prepared in accordance to this provision, and therefore they were non-compliant. This is the recommendation of the committee. The CSCM, Finance, Economic Planning, and ICT should always adhere with the relevant prescribed accounting standards. Provisions of Section 1936 and 7 of the PFM Regulation of 2015 states that in the event of an interest holder failing to account for or surrender the interest on the due date, the accounting officer shall take immediate action to recover the full amount from the salary of the defaulting officer with an interest at the prevailing central bank rates. If the accounting officer does not recover the temporary interest from the defaulting officer as provided in this regulation, he or she commits an offense as provided under this act. This was our observation as a committee. The county executive had an outstanding figure for unsurrendered interest of Kenya shillings 23,35,975 at the closer of the financial year 2022-2023. Again here, they were non-compliant. And this is now the recommendation from the committee. The CCM Finance, Economic Planning, and ICT to strictly adhere with the provisions of the relevant sections of law and ensure the full amount is recovered by end of second quarter of the financial year 2023-2024. Provisions on PFM regulations of 2015, number 25(1)A, the County Executive Committee member, with the approval of the County Assembly, shall set a limit on the county government's expenditure on wages and benefits for its public officers pursuant to Section 107(2) of the Act. And this is what we observed as a committee. County expenditure on wages and benefits is at 51% of the total county revenue. And I repeat, county expenditure on wages and benefits is at 51% of the total county revenue. And here again, they were non-compliant. This is what we recommended. The CSCM Finance, Economic Planning, and ICT to comply with the relevant provisions of the law. And to continue with that, as you all know, the limit set under paragraph A above shall not exceed 35% of the county government total revenue. I don't know how we are going to do it, but that is what the law requires. We are in the second report, that is review on the county revenue fund, annual report and financial statement for the period ended 30th June 2023. Mr. Speaker and honorable members, after careful scrutiny of these financial statements, various issues were raised and addressed to the CCM Finance and Economic Planning. The matrix below outlines the concerns, responses by the CCM Finance, the County Observations and Recommendations, the Committee Observations and Recommendations. And you can check this on page 16 and page 17 on the main report. These were the issues raised by the committee. Number one, the OCOB County Implementation Review Report, financial year 2022-2023, discloses that the county received a total of Kenya shillings 93,997,196, being conditional grant for road maintenance fuel levy, which is not included on the receipts of CRF statement for the period under review. And we are asking them to explain this inconsistency in reporting. And this is how they responded. At the time of preparation of the financial statement, the management had not received this amount related to conditional grant for road maintenance levy of Kenya shillings 93,997,196. Since we report on cash basis, we could not include it in CRF report. That was the response from the CCM, Finance and ICT. So this is what we observed as a committee. The department failed to provide evidence on the date of receipt of Kenya shillings 93,997,196 to justify their responses that the funds were received after close of the financial year. And this is what we recommend. The county treasurer to submit evidence to justify the date upon which the amount was received within 2 weeks of adoption of this report. Number 2, we also raised this issue. We told them to submit CRF bank account statements to justify the report receipts payments. And this is how they responded. Bank account statement for CRF has been attached for your perusal. See Annex 4. And this is what we observed. The Annex 4 was not there. We could not trace it. And this is what we recommended. The county treasury to submit CRF bank account statements to justify the receipts and within 2 weeks of adoption of this report. That is what they are supposed to do. Then number 3, we also raised or requested them to give a further detailed explanation and supporting schedules on the return to CRF issues, and that was in explanatory note 3 on page 6 is inadequate. So this was the response. The management noted that and shall henceforth ensure adequate explanation on report to CRF. And therefore, what we observed is that the response is not satisfactory. Hence, we recommend that the county treasurer to provide a comprehensive explanation of the return to CRF issues within 2 weeks of adoption of this report. Number 4, this is also an issue we raised as a committee. We wanted them to justify the variation in opening fund balance figure disclosed in the CRF report at 1,733,026,958 against the Kenya shillings 652,654,461 being opening balance for the same period disclosed in CBROP financial year 2022-2023. And this is what we observed. The variance is the transfer to county. No, this is how we responded. This is how the department responded. The variance is the transfer to county assembly, which was not included in the CRF report. And as a committee, this is what we observed. The response is irrelevant to the issue raised. Therefore, we recommend that the CEC member to appear before the House Committee to shed more light on the issue within 2 weeks of adoption of this report. Number 5, we also wanted them to justify the variation between closing balances for the financial year 2022-2023 of Kenya shillings 2,021,612,102 against the opening balance in the approved budget estimate for the financial year 2023-2024 of Kenya shillings 1,450,625,819. And this is how the department responded. The variance amount is due to the Facility Improvement Fund, FIF, for hospitals, which was not included while computing the opening balance. And this is what we observed. The response is not satisfactory, since the opening balance has to be the closing balance of the subsequent year. So this is our recommendation. This matter be referred to the Select Committee of PIC and PAC for further investigations. And I repeat, this matter be referred to the Select Committee of PIC and PAC for further investigation, because we need to know more members. If there is something they are trying to hide, or we didn't gather enough information or evidence to find out the truth. So we have referred it to PIC and PAC committee. The next report is review of the County Executive Annual Report and Financial Statement for the period ended 30th June 2023. Mr. Speaker and honorable members, after examination of these financial statements, various issues were raised and addressed to the CCM Finance and Economic Planning. The matrix below outlines the concerns, responses by the CCM Finance, the Committee Observations and Recommendations. And this one you can check from the main report in page 23, 24, 25, 26, 27 of the main report. And this is what we raised as a committee. We just wanted to know from the account for the financial year 2022-2023, which had, from the report, they had a balance brought forward of Kenya shillings 2,545,856,113, which has been adjusted to Kenya shillings 1,627,639,016. We wanted them to provide supporting schedule to the following figures, which has adjusted this figure, and this one is in note 12 in page 75. So a part of it, Kenya shillings 41,444,001 reported to be related to other commercial account during the financial year 2021-2022. B, 24,02,989 reported as others. And C part of it, we wanted them to submit the amended accounts for the financial year 2021-2022. This was their response.
Yes, what is the point of order?
I was given a copy here. The chair is going through the copy, but what she's reading does not tally with my copy, Mr. Speaker. I think from the word go, there is a problem. This is the report I've been given. I've been keenly following, but they don't tally. Like she just mentioned the page here 70 something. I'm looking at my report. There is no page 70 something, Mr. Speaker. Unless so many versions of the reports were prepared, what I've been given is different from what she's reading. If I've been given a hard copy and I cannot follow her, what about the members who are following from their mobile? Mr. Speaker, we have a problem.
Honorable Chair, I believe what the Chair is using is a moving note, but Honorable Chair, can you clarify?
Can you pinpoint exactly where you want clarification? Which page? I'm here, and these are moving notes.
Moving note.
Yeah.
It is on which page?
I don't know which page. Sorry. No, I've mentioned from my report, so you just tell me. You can even show me from your copy, and then I can assist you. No, you are looking something different. I'm sorry.
Point of order, Mr.
What is the point of order, Honorable Sir?
Mr. Speaker, the House is moving and procedurally. Because I believe Honorable Ikopete is a ranking member of this House. And we should let the chair conclude her report. Then the Honorable Ikopete will raise the matters he has raised. But going to the chair to verify whether the two reports are genuine or not, I think is very unprocedural, Mr. Speaker. So let the chair proceed, then the Honorable Ikopete will raise the matters when he will be interrogating the report. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
That Kanga, I had requested the chair to move slowly so that the members can move alongside because of the challenge we had of the reports having been sent late. That's why I allowed Honorable Iko to be guided so that he moves together with the chair. I think what did come out clear is that the chair is doing a summary and referring to certain pages where the members could be looking into. So, Honorable Boyton, if you are next to Honorable Iko, I think if you are following with the Honorable Finance Chair, then you should be able to assist Honorable Iko as appropriate. Honorable Chair, proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to inform Honorable Oiko that now we are in the review of the County Revenue Fund annual report and financial statement for the period ended 30th June 2023. And I think I mentioned page 16 and page 17 of the main report, not page 75. Okay. Okay, Mr. Speaker and honorable members, after a careful scrutiny of this financial statement, various issues were raised and addressed to the CCM Finance and Economic Planning. After careful scrutiny of this financial statement, sorry to repeat that, the matrix below outlined the concerns, responses by the ECM Finance and the Committee Observations and Recommendations. And I repeat again, this one you can go through page 16 and page 17 of the main report, not page 75. And I think I'd gone through this one. I need not to repeat. It is only that I was interrupted by Honorable Oiko, so I need to move to another page. Sorry. Okay, at the end of each financial year, the accounting officer for a county government entity shall prepare financial statement in respect of the entity in formats to be prescribed by the Accounting Standards Board. I think I'd even read this one. So I need to proceed to another page.
What is the point of order, Honorable Nyauki?
Mr. Speaker, you had given us the liberty to move with the motion mover, and we were at a very, very crucial page where she had not completed when Mr. Oiko, Honorable Oiko came in, and that is at 4.6. If you look at 4.6, Madam, Madam Chair.
Yeah.
We had already at point 1 where issue raised. Then now we are supposed to move to the response by the CECM, because that is a very important thing that we need to go to really before we go to the committee observation.
Okay.
At item 4.6, Madam Chair, please.
You are guided, Honorable Chair.
Thank you. Okay, let me proceed. I'll redo it for continuity. Review of the County Executive Annual Report and Financial Statement for the period ended 30th June 2023. Mr. Speaker and honorable members, after examination of this financial statement, various issues were raised and addressed to the CECM Finance and Economic Planning. The matrix below outline the concern responses by CECM Finance, the committee observations and recommendations, and that is in page 23, 24, 25, 26, 27 of the main report. And this is what was raised by the committee. Your account for the financial year 2022 and 2023 as a report of a balance brought forward of Kenya shillings 2,545,856,113, which has been adjusted to 1,627,639,016. Provide supporting schedule to the following figures, which has adjusted this figure note. Sorry, I repeat. The figure is Kenya shillings 2,545,856,113, which has been adjusted to 1,627,639,016. So this is our question. We wanted them to provide supporting schedules to the following figures, which has adjusted this figure. And that is in note 12. So part A of it is Kenya shillings 41,444,001 reported to be relating to other commercial bank account during financial year 2021-2022. B part of it, 24,2,987 reporting as others. And then C part of it, submit the amended accounts for the financial year 2021-2022. And this is how they responded. Kenya shillings 41,044,001 relate to account held at different self-reporting entities which are required to prepare separate accounts. And this one you can check Annex 1. Others, as disclosed in prior year adjustment, amounting to Kenya shillings 24,2,889, was a provision figure which could not be verified due to IFMIS network technical challenges at the time of closing the financial year. However, it was later corrected and captured under and surrendered interest. A difference of 5,533,465 was an arithmetic error, which has since been included in the amended financial statement. And that was the response from the Department of Finance. As a committee, this is what we observed. Generally, closing balance figures are verified by Board of Survey. It is not convincing that the figure of 24,002,989 was a provisional figure. In addition, the county treasury further claims that a difference of Kenya shillings 5,535,465 out of Kenya shillings 24,002,889 is a typical error, which has been included in the amended financial statement, but the necessary documents have not been provided to support these claims. Further, the figure of 44,444,001 reported as for other commercial banks is still not satisfactorily responded to, since the accounts for the said self-reporting entities are not provided. Number two part of it, we wanted them to explain why compensation of employees figure totaling to 4,374,106,138 for the financial year 2022-2023 as reduced from Kenya shillings 4,545,113,972 for the financial year 2021-2022, despite automatic annual increments. Further, you are required to submit reconciled report on wages in this format, attaching summaries for new employees, retirements, plus other items affecting salary deductions. And this is the statements of receipts and payments that is in page 37. Total salaries for the financial year 2021-2022 was 4,545,113,972. Add annual increment for the financial year 2022 and 2023. Add new employees for the financial year 2022-2023. Other increments during the year financial year 2022-2023. And this is how they responded. They have not submitted the reconciled reports on personal emoluments as per our prescribed format, but have indicated that the low absorption of PPE was due to retirements and human resource matters. So this is what we observed as a committee. The county treasurer did not provide a reconciled report on the personal emoluments in the format that was prescribed by the House Committee. And this is what we recommend. The county treasury to provide a reconciled report of the personal emoluments in the format that was prescribed by the House Committee within 2 weeks upon adoption of this report. Number 4, we also wanted them to justify the variations in opening funds balance figure disclosed in the CRF report at 1,733,026,958 against the Kenya shillings 652,654,461 being opening balance for the same period disclosed in CPRO financial year 2022-2023. And this is how they responded. The variance is the transfer to county assembly, which was not included in the CRF report. And therefore, we observed that the response is irrelevant to the issue raised. And this is what we recommended. The CEC member to appear before the House Committee to shed more light on the issue within 2 weeks of adoption of this report. This matter, we move to number 5. We also wanted them to justify the variation between the closing balances for the financial year 2022-2023 of Kenya shillings 2,021,612,102 against the opening balance in the approved budget estimates for the financial year 2023-2024 of Kenya shillings 1,450,625,819. And this is how they responded. The variance amount is due to the Facility Improvement Fund, FIF, for hospitals, which was not included while computing the opening balance. The response is not satisfactory since the opening balance has not to be closing balance of the subsequent year. And therefore, we recommend that this matter be referred to the Select Committee of Peak and Park for further investigation. Now moving to the last report. That is the review of the Kisumu County Emergency Fund Annual Report and financial statement for the period ended 30th June 2023. Mr. Speaker, sir, and honorable members, the Kisumu County Emergency Fund account was established on 11th December 2015 in accordance with Section 110(1) of the Public Finance Management Act 2012, with an objective of the fund is to enable payments to be made in respect of county when an urgent and unforeseen need for expenditure for which there is no specific legislative authority arises. After our analysis on these financial statements, various issues were raised and addressed to CCM Finance and Economic Planning. The matrix below outlines the concerns, responses by the CCM Finance, the Committee Observations and Recommendations. And this is in page 29, 30, 31, 32, and 33 of the main report. These were some of the issues which were raised by the committee. Number 1, the committee has noted that the financial statements you submitted did not conform to the prescribed format issued by the Public Sector Accounting Standard Board for the financial year 2022-2023. A, part of it, no county logo on the cover page. You know, a report should have a logo. That is when you are sure it has come from the department. Without a logo, it can be a fake one, and anybody can prepare a report. So this is how they responded. I don't know whether to read. Okay, let me proceed. That's a part of it. We noticed that the no county logo on the cover page. Again, P part of it. No list of acronyms and glossaries of the terms. C, fiduciary oversight arrangements, number 2, like that. The name, even there was a name of our speaker which was misspelled Instead of Elisha Jack Oraro, they wrote George Oraro. And then D, statement of comparison of budgets and actual amount. The percentage utilization was not provided. And this is how they responded. They admitted the omission of not putting the county logo. This has now been added to the cover page in the amended financial statement. And be part of it, they also admitted that the list of acronyms and glossary of terms were not included in the financial statement. This has now been included in the amended financial statements. And see part of it, they also admitted that the fiduciary oversight arrangement was not put well. Now the name has been put properly and corrected in the amended financial statement. D, they also acknowledge that the statement of comparison of budget and actual amount, the percentage utilization were not provided. However, these have been corrected as required. And this is what we observed as a committee. The county treasury has admitted the issues raised by the House committee. So it means they agreed with us. And therefore, the issue was satisfactorily responded to. So our recommendation was that it was resolved. The F part of it, under the reported expenditure of Kenya shillings 90 million, this is now our question to them, the department. Under the reported expenditure of Kenya shillings 90 million, kindly highlight the activities that were financed. Also explain how the extra 20 million was financed, because the receipt in the year was only 75 million Kenya shillings. So this is how they responded, that the Kenya shillings 90 million was expended as follows: donations, reverse receipts at Kenya shillings 3,629,600. Okay, and this is what we observed as a committee. The county treasury has admitted that the issues raised by the House committee, so they agreed with us, and this is what we recommended. The county treasury should prepare the statements in accordance with the formats and guidelines prescribed by the public sector accounting standard board PSASB for financial year 2022-2023. Number 2 part of it, under Fund Administration Committee Chairperson's report, the following issues were not captured as required. Number 1, changes in the fund during the year, that is in terms of the board or key management team. B, review of the fund's performance. C, future outlook of the fund. D, any other matters deemed necessary. And E, conclusion. This is how they responded. Changes in the funds during the year in terms of the board or key management team, review of the fund's performance, future outlook of the funds, and conclusion aspects, issues have been addressed in the amended financial statement. And this one was also satisfactorily responded to, and therefore it was resolved. The F part of it, sorry, this one was repeated. I believe I've read about the 90 million and how they explained. So I need not to repeat. To the emergency fund, this is how they responded. Emergency fund food relief at Kenya shillings 38,991,887. Acquisition, which means other infrastructure and civil works at 48,085,143. Bank charges at 14,650,000. I think this, they were just explaining how they arrived at 90 million. I hope you are together. Okay. And then the G part of it, scrutiny of the financial statements. A part of it, public contribution and donation, and this is note 1. Under notes the financial statement, note 1, public contribution and donations, that is in page 20. It is reported that donations from the development partners was erroneously deposited to the fund account, and it was Kenya shillings 3,330,200 and was later reversed. So we wanted them to provide evidence for the reversal. And then again, under use of goods and services, note 3, page 21, donation or reverse receipts has been reported as Kenya shillings 3,629,600. But the reported reversed amount under note 1 is Kenya shillings 3,330,200, giving a variance of Kenya shillings 299,400. To this is how they responded. It is true that the donation from the development partners, that is UNICEF, was erroneously deposited to the fund accounts, Kenya shillings 3,330,200, and was later reversed. Kindly see attached Annex 6. And then B, it is true that the underuse of goods and services, note 3, page 21, donation receipts has been reported as 2,629,600. But the reported reversed amount under note 1 is Kenya shillings 3,330,200, giving a variance of Kenya shillings 229,400. Note that there were 2 donations which were erroneously deposited in the emergency fund account. Kenya shillings 2,330,200 from the UNICEF and Kenya shillings 300,000 from Cooperative Bank. Therefore, the first reversal was done to UNICEF over Kenya shillings 3,329,600, of which the difference, Kenya shillings 600, was bank charges. Secondly, 300,000 from donor Cooperative Bank to AfriCities was transferred to CRF account for further adoption by the county assembly. So this is what we observed as a committee. The House Committee finds the response incomplete since the attachment, no attachment was provided. So in this case, there was nothing to prove what they were saying. And therefore, this is what we recommended. The CCM to provide evidential and documentary responses within 2 weeks upon adoption of this report. I'm in H part of it. Under the statement of cash flows for the year ended 30th June 2023, Note 1, public contributions and donations, page 4, was reported nil. Yet under Note 1 to financial statement, page 20, public contribution and donations has been reported to have a figure of Kenya shillings 3,330,200. And we asked them to explain the disparities herein. This is how they responded. It is true that under the statement of cash flow for the year ended 30th June 2023, Note 1, public contributions and donations, page 4, was reported nil. Yet under Note 1 to the financial statement, page 20, public contributions and donations has been reported to have a figure of Kenya shillings 3,330,200. This was a typo error, which has been corrected. Kindly see page 4 of the financial statements. And this is what we observed as a committee. The House Committee finds the response incomplete since no attachment were provided. We had nothing to justify what they were saying. And this is what we recommended. The CCM to provide evidential and documentary response within 2 weeks upon adoption of this report. Part I, we wanted them to give a detailed breakdown on how emergency relief funds of Kenya shillings 38,991,887 was expensed. We wanted them to provide supporting schedule to this expenditure, explanatory note 3, page 21. To us, it was inadequate. And you can also go through it to confirm yourselves. And in their responses, this is what they say. The details of how emergency relief funds, the details of how emergency relief funds of Kenya shillings 38,991,887 was expensed as detailed in Annex 8. And that you can check from the main report. As a committee, this is what we observed. The House Committee finds the response incomplete since no attachment were provided. Honorable members, this is what we have been going through. We get a report from the executive. They say the annex is there. If you check, it is not there. So you will see what to do. As a committee, we recommended this. The CCM to provide evidential and documentary responses within 2 weeks upon adoption of this report. And then the J part of it, we wanted them to give a detailed breakdown on how Kenya shillings 48,085,143 for acquisition, other infrastructure and civil works was expensed. And we also wanted them to provide I repeat again, I start again. We wanted them to give a detailed breakdown on how Kenya shillings 48,085,143 for acquisition, other infrastructure and civil works was expensed. We wanted them to provide supporting schedule for this expenditure. Explanatory note 3, page 21 was inadequate. B part of it, further, we wanted them to explain why it was classified under use of goods and services, yet it should be under acquisition of assets. And this was their response. The details of our acquisition, other infrastructure and civil works of Kenya shillings 48,085,143 was expense. And then they told us to check the attached Annex 9. Be part of it, the amount of Kenya shillings 48,85,143 was expense on code 264044 instead of class 310,000 acquisition of access code. I think Honorable Benio Ikopete is in a position to understand this better. As transferable code, which FIMS accept and to avoid audit queries which arises from classification 3. This is how they responded. This is what we observed as a committee. The House Committee find the response incomplete since no attachment were done. And this is what we recommended. The CCM to provide evidential and documentary responses within 2 weeks upon adoption of this report. We move to K, which concerns cash and cash equivalents. Current account, Coop Bank, note to the financial statement number 4, page 22, represented Kenya shillings 110,436. The figure varies with the balance as per certificate of balance attached as an annexure with a figure of Kenya shillings 4,983.48. We wanted them to explain the variation and provide a reconciliation statements. This is how they responded. They said they submitted that the reason for doing bank reconciliation is to harmonize the difference between the cash book balance and balance as per the bank statement. And they told us to see the attached cash book bank statement and reconciliation statement, Annex 10. Here again, no annex was attached. And this was our recommendation. The CCM to provide evidential and documentary responses within 2 weeks upon adoption of this report. Honorable members, apart from the other recommendations we made earlier, we also had general recommendations. Mr. Speaker, sir, and honorable members, the committee makes following additional recommendations for the consideration by this esteemed House. Number 1, disclosure of county commercial bank accounts. That the CCM for Finance and Economic Planning and ICT to submit all county executive commercial banks accounts to the Assembly within 1 month of the approval of this committee report. The bank accounts to include donor-funded operational accounts, facility improvement fund account being managed by health facilities or department, and liquor license accounts. Number 2, enhancement of financial reporting standards. That the CCM for Finance, Economic Planning and ICT to promote the county standards of financial reporting, particularly concerning county public funds, by assigning capable and competent accounting officers who are dedicated to managing the funds effectively. Number 3, adherence to the committee directives or resolutions. That the county treasury to adhere to the committee directives or resolutions by honoring invitations and strictly observing deadlines for the submission of responses and relevant information for ensuring proper scrutiny and to enhance the oversight role of the Assembly. Last but not least, enhance coordination with the House Committee. That the Department of Finance, Economic Planning and ICT to enhance its coordination and cooperation with the House Committees to foster synergy for improved service delivery to the people of Kisumu County. Honorable Speaker and honorable members, we have had some of the challenges we have been having as a committee. It is late responses, inadequate reports, and the way they do their work. I can say the clerks or whoever is responsible is not competent. And I therefore conclude by saying, I hereby urge the honorable members to adopt this report with the recommendations contained herein. May I call upon Honorable Kennedy Ouko to second. Okay. Okay. May I call upon Honorable Lemumbo Wade to second.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as I rise to second the report by my chair, I first of all take this opportunity to congratulate her and her team for a job well done. Madam Deputy Speaker, if you want to speak, you should rise and be given a chance. Otherwise, the floor is mine. Mr. Speaker, I think what the committee has done is a testimony to the role of an able committee like finance. It is now our duty as members to ventilate on it, and if there is anything that needs to be added or amended, I call upon members to honestly debate on this matter appropriately. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, now that the Finance ICT Committee consolidated report on its consideration of the Kisumu County Executive Annual Report and Financial Statement for the period ended 30th June 2023, and that of the Revenue Fund Annual Report and Financial Statement for the period ended 30th June 2023, and finally the Emergency Annual Report and Financial Statement for the period ended 30th June 2023, have been presented by the Honorable Chair, seconded. I want to now propose a question. And I propose that the Finance and ICT Committee consolidated report on its consideration of the 3 financial statements is open for debate. Vitalis Kobuda.
Many thanks, Honorable Speaker. Many thanks to my colleagues, honorable members. A very good report, a very elaborate report. Congratulations, the chair, together with your team. That is exemplary job. Well done, wonderful. I could hear the chair going into a Scottish issue one by one of them being some letters written on letter-headed documentation, which I think do not warrant to satisfy the reactions accordingly. Other cases in nature, she was referring to cases of the annexures, which are actually quite non-existent. I think going by the design of what I've heard, going through the same, she's actually determined, together with the team, together with the committee, to bring on board all the weak areas of weaknesses. I highly support. I highly support. I get to encourage and call upon the members, the fellow honorable members, so that we get to adopt the report accordingly. Many, many thanks once more.
Honorable Tom Nyaoke.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as I started saying about something about this motion which has been brought before us, Mr. Speaker, I still want to continue to appreciate the chair for being fair, faithful to the commitment she has for this particular committee. Mr. Speaker, I tried my level best to move with her up to speed the way we were guided. And Mr. Speaker, this committee have tried to give us exactly, even if it is not exactly, but at least the going-ons as far as this report is concerned, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you have seen they have actually faithfully interrogated, and even the questions they were trying to put to the relevant department, to the executive, Mr. Speaker, are precise, and in most cases to the point, Mr. Speaker. I'm happy that they really they tried their level best to identify the gaps that I think, as we have promised in this third session, Mr. Speaker, that we are going to make sure, if we come together in this House, to make sure that the pending cases, the verifications that we have, that have been requested for this particular report, Mr. Speaker, if they will be responded to accordingly, I think, and I'm sure we shall get to the right place, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you look at points like some contributions and donations which were deposited in a particular account, and later on they were reversed. Mr. Speaker, we know these accountants, sometimes they know how to play around with figures. They move some money from one account, puts in one account to solve a specific problem. Mr. Speaker, I don't want to confirm that that is what took place, but if we look at this report, we are seeing certain issues arising like that. That you find that a particular amount of money has been deposited in account, and then it is said it was deposited erroneously. You can't deposit, Mr. Speaker, money to the tune of about 3-point-something million. You put it into account, then you say you put it wrongly. Now you reverse, you put it. This is not your pocket money, Mr. Speaker. This is something that we need to look at, and the response of the committee, the observation of the committee, and what they demand the report to be given, Mr. Speaker, should be followed to the latter, that they bring, and we want to see the committee making sure that all those recommendations they have given and the answers and the documentary evidence that they have requested from the executive are provided, Mr. Speaker. I think going forward in this particular session, as we have agreed with all the members, that we are going to take our work seriously. And I think, Mr. Speaker, we are going to start with this particular report. I'm requesting and I'm prevailing upon my fellow members, we adopt this report so that we have a progress. If we don't adopt it, Mr. Speaker, then some of the information that we have requested, I can see that some of them we have referred to the PICPAC, Mr. Speaker, to go and dig deeper into such reports. Mr. Speaker, if we don't adopt this report, then we don't expect to get those answers. And therefore, somebody might just run away with those gaps that we have identified, Mr. Speaker. So once more, I want to thank this committee. And for the first time, I think this is one of the best reports that has been brought before us. What I want us to do is to make sure that we follow their request that they have sent to the executive, so that the executive also take their work serious to make sure that they have responded to the pertinent issues that have been requested by the committee. Thank you. I beg to support.
Honorable Benny Pete.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is a good report for the Assembly to interrogate, to see how the public money is being spent by the executive. Mr. Speaker, that is very crucial. And when we shall be getting such reports, we shall get the picture that this is how our county government is being run. Is it being run for the betterment of our people, or are there gaps that we need to pinpoint? Mr. Speaker, it is good that this is the first time I'm seeing the report of emergency annual report. And what I need to go further to find out, this one is being stated here, emergency report of 2015, not emergency fund act of 2018. That is what is in this report. We need to verify whether it is one of 20, what is being used is emergency fund act of 2015 or that one of 2018. Then, Mr. Speaker, a matter raised here on page 16 is on a grant for road maintenance. Mr. Speaker, this money used to come and it was a specific voted. Then changes were made that it should now be mixed with the on-source revenue. And now we are getting a situation that this money was received and its accounting was not properly done. It is not being reflected in the current financial year it was received, and whether it was taken to the next financial year, we need to note that and follow. Otherwise, when we take it casually, it will be a habit where when it comes, the executive handles it anyhow. And that will be a big loss to the people of Kisumu County. Mr. Speaker, on the same page, page 16, number 4, there is the balance of 1.7 billion, which is the closing balance. And on the same page, the opening balance is given as 652 million. Mr. Speaker, the closing balance becomes the opening balance in normal accounting situation. And the figure here is a very big amount, over 1 billion. Because 1.7 billion subtract 652 million over 1 billion. Looks over 1 billion was not accounted for. This should not be taken slightly. The executive must explain what happened. And what I also wonder, it is becoming a practice in this house when financial reports are being brought, that the executive is given 30 days, 60 days, 90 days to respond. When the report has been brought here, the committee is interrogating the report, they still give more time for the executive to respond. And they are bringing the report for us to respond to. Mr. Speaker, we need to look into that. On that, about 1 billion is not accounted for. Mr. Speaker, on number 5, things again become mountains. When we are being told the closing balance for financial year 2022-2023 of 2,021,612,102 against the opening balance in the approved budget estimates for 2023-2024 of 1,140,625. We wonder which accounting is now being propagated here. This could have been an error. Because we were looking for the financial year, 1st July 2022 to 30th June 2023. Let the committee take note of that. We are looking for, the record we are looking at is for 1st July 2022 to 30th June 2023. And that one is well stated here. 30th June 2023, 30th June 2023, 30th June 2023. So when we now bring a record of 2023-2024, which is again not yet over, now this one now brings confusion. Mr. Speaker, when I go further on this record, the time I interrupted, this is what came out, Mr. Speaker. The chair was referring to pages which are not here. The pages she was referring to are in the original document. So when one is not keen, you will be confused. And for sure, Mr. Speaker, the original document was only seen by the committee members, not these other members. That is the confusion that was there. Mr. Speaker, the matter of wage bill has also been raised on this report. And on the matter of wage bill, it is at 51% against 31%. One will ask, has Kisumu County overemployed the technical staff? Or who are these who have been employed? That one, the Committee of Finance needs to be keen on that expenditure. The Labor Committee also needs to do something so that we give direction. Another interesting matter here, Mr. Speaker, on the emergency fund, 38 million was spent on foodstuff. 2022-2023. And we are the people who have supported that because we are the people who are always affected with the floods and the drought. But we didn't see that kind of food. And it is good, the committee is saying the department could not explain what that money did. I hope when we go this way, we shall put the executive on the right track and our money will be properly used. I beg to submit.
Yes, the Honorable Maurice Geta.
Honorable Speaker, going by the mood of the House, I call upon the mover to reply.
Can see the Honorable Whip is on his feet. Honorable Whip.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to support the committee report on the financial statement starting 1st of July 2022 to 30th June 2022, Mr. Speaker. However, Mr. Speaker, that I support the committee report. There are recommendations which I believe should have been addressed before we adopt this report. As you are aware that there are several unsubmitted impressed, totaling to approximately 23 million, Mr. Speaker. And you are aware of the consequences as per enshrined in article in Public Finance Management Act 97, the consequences as to when you don't surrender interest. 23 million, Mr. Speaker, is not a small amount of money. And Mr. Speaker, the recommendations thereto are that we give the CEC Finance a period of 2 weeks. Mr. Speaker, the report is very elaborate. They could have even summoned the CEC Finance to explain these issues before we adopt the report. However, going by the submissions of the chair, they have done so. Mr. Speaker, in the general recommendations, Mr. Speaker, there is a point where the chair said that there are several commercial bank accounts of the county assembly, which the committee found out that the accounts, they did not submit the accounts to the assembly, and thereby they have given the CC again 1 month, Mr. Speaker. The commercial bank accounts, monies have been transferred, the financial statements are not there. Then we are giving them again 1 month, Mr. Speaker, to give us the financial statements of those accounts. Mr. Speaker, another issue I wanted to talk about is that adherence, again, to the committee directives, Mr. Speaker. The chair has indicated in a report that when they do invitations to the CEC Finance, Mr. Speaker, they do not adhere to the requirements of the committee. Mr. Speaker, going forward, we should ensure as an assembly that when we do invitations to this, not even the CEC Finance, but all the relevant CECs who are answerable to this assembly, Mr. Speaker, they are there to the requirements and to the request by assembly. Finally, Mr. Speaker, I want to applaud the chair. For the first time, Mr. Speaker, in the third assembly, we have seen a very elaborate statement, a very elaborate recommendations, giving reasons, giving recommendations, and even giving observations on what to be done, what the assembly requires, and even highlighting discrepancies where there are, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I also want to support the chair together with her committee and together with the assembly staff for doing a very elaborate report. And finally, Mr. Speaker, I support the report. Thank you.
If there is no any other member, I want to remind you that Honorable Ngeta is called upon the mover to reply. I'm not seeing any other member standing, so Honorable Karen, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. To my colleagues, the honorable members who have spoken, thank you so much for seeing that we have done a good work. We feel encouraged, and I'm very happy. Honorable Oiko talked about me mentioning 2024 instead of 2023. I think that was just a typo error. It shouldn't have been that. It's supposed to be 2023. And again, Honorable Seth Kanga also talked about the unsurrendered interest, and I want to inform him that during our report writing in Bondo, we invited the CC's Finance and ICT to join us to shed more lights and to provide more information on the issues we raised. But due to unavoidable circumstances, he did not come. But from the report I've just read, you have heard, we expect him to appear before us after 2 weeks on adoption of this report. And maybe again, after the retreat, the one we had in Sawela, I hope things will change. I hope we talked, and they also agreed that they have not been responding so well to our invites or respond well to our queries. And once again, Honorable Speaker, I take this opportunity to thank honorable members. And so I reply.
Honorable members, the Chair, Finance and ICT Committee has presented a consolidated report on their consideration of the Kisumu County Executive Annual Report and Financial Statement for the period ended 30th June 2023, and that of the Revenue Fund Annual Report and Financial Statement for the period ended 30th June 2023, and finally the Emergency Annual Report and Financial Statement for the period ended 30th June 2023, which has been seconded, debated, and our standing orders now want to put a question. And I put that as many of the opinion that they said consolidated report be adopted with the recommendation therein, say aye. As many of the contrary opinions say nay. The ayes have it, and the Finance and ICT consolidated report on its consideration of the Kisumu County Executive Annual Report and Financial Statement for the period ended 30 June 2023, and the Revenue Fund Annual Report and Financial Statement for the period ended 30 June 2023, and the Emergency Annual Report and Financial Statement for the period ended 30th June 2023 have been adopted today, the 21st of February 2024 at 16:41 hours. And I want to direct that the recommendations of the report therein be communicated to the relevant departments, the Committee of Implementation to pick immediately on follow-up of implementation of the same, and those recommendations that have been referred to Pick Pack Committee to be taken up for action. Next order.
Mr. Speaker and honorable members, there is no any other business in the order paper.
Honorable members, there being no any other business in the order paper, the House stands adjourned until the 22nd of February 2024 at 2:30 p.m.